All right, we'll get started, guys. Firstly, good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for all of you to joining this webinar. My name is Raman. I basically head international marketing here at Exotel, and I'm going to be your host for the next 1 hour, 50 minutes to 1 hour. That's how much we will take your time. We will not take more than that. All right. So let's get started. I wanted to start with a few stats, right? You can, I'm sure all of you are aware of the topic that we're going to be talking about today, specifically about how we're going to be hyperscaling customer conversations using WhatsApp for business, right? Wanted to run you guys through some of the stats that I came across in the recent past. One, in 2023 alone, in fact, 2 lakh plus companies are using WhatsApp business as one of the primary communication across the world. That is in just the last 2.5 months that we're talking about. And India is actually the 3rd largest consumer of WhatsApp for business with over 400 million users after Brazil and US. And in fact, currently, the top 3 buying centers that Meta has observed, where WhatsApp for business is widely used, is marketing, SEO, and digital marketing. In fact, if we go a little more deeper into this, most of Meta's revenue currently is coming from specifically click to message, or rather click to WhatsApp ads that you see that business is using, right? In fact, Meta mentioned that the click to WhatsApp ad have crossed almost 1.5 billion run rate in the last 1.5 years, which is almost and growing at a rate of 80% almost year-on-year growth. So, but Meta is trying to slowly shift this entire focus towards how WhatsApp is being used for marketing to how it can be used to other parts of the customer journey as well, specifically in the customer support region. In fact, that is what most companies are focusing today on, how they can specifically use WABA across not just in acquiring customers, but also in engaging and retaining customers. But while WhatsApp might be the most widely used communication channel today, it's definitely not the cheapest. All of us know that, right? And especially given the current economic conditions, companies are actually looking to cut cost in every possible way. Especially at such a situation, it becomes all the more prudent to using WhatsApp efficiently and using this in relevance with other channels or orchestrated with other channels. Today, we are here to not only address how WhatsApp can be used across multiple parts of the customer journey, but also how this channel can actually be seamlessly and efficiently combined with other traditional channels, say like voice, chat, GBS and emails and etc., to not just improve your overall customer engagement, but also how this entire orchestrated channel can actually prove to be cost effective as well. So that is what we are here to talk about today. With that, let's get started with the agenda. We just have 2 sessions for the day. One is going to be the thought leadership session by Mr. Angira, where we're going to be addressing all the points that we just discussed. Post that, we'll also have a quick fireside chat where some of Exotel customers are going to be talking about their journey with this entire with the entire connected communication channel that we're trying to provide to their customers. So this is what we're going to be covering today. With that, I'm going to introduce Angira, who's going to be talking today. Before that, we have a quick poll, guys. I wanted to, basically, there are 2 questions that we will be launching. You should see it in front of your screen right now. It'll be great if you guys can take roughly 2 minutes of your time to answer these 2 questions, post which we'll have the session by Mr. Angira. All right, answers are coming in. Okay, another 30 seconds. All right. All right, guys. Okay. There were two questions that we asked. I'm just going to tell you what the percentages was. The first question was, where is WhatsApp as a channel proving to be the most impactful today? The options are marketing, sales, customer support, and all of the above. Of course, 67% of you answered all of the above. And the second closest probably goes to customer support. About 27% of you answered customer support. This kind of goes against what the trend is today, where WhatsApp is actually mostly used for marketing. That's great. The second question was, what are the roadblocks for using WhatsApp as the primary channel? Cost was one of the options, and 28% of you answered. And the biggest option here was integrating WhatsApp seamlessly with other channels. Currently, it's a very complex process. So, and which almost 80% of you answered as the option. So that's awesome to know. In fact, we'll be addressing how this complex process can be made simpler. And with that, I will call upon, I'm just ending the poll 1 second. One second, yes. Yeah. So with that, I call upon Mr. Angira, who's the Global Senior Vice President for Exotel. He heads the domestic business and global GTM and strategy for Exotel. In fact, Angira has over 25 plus years of experience in the industry in both not just creating, but also scaling up businesses across different technologies, different industries, and etc. In fact, some of them include cloud, IoT networks, enterprise communications, messaging, enterprise software, you name it, and he's been there and he's done that. He's brought in like disruptive transformations in some of the largest businesses across the world, which includes India, Asia Pacific, and other parts of the world, actually. So he's going to be here. He's going to be sharing his knowledge from his years of experience in the industry. He's going to be talking to you about how acquiring, engaging, and retaining your customers can be made easy with AI-enabled messaging. Over to you, Angira.
Thank you so much, Raman. By the way, when you were starting to introduce me, I raised my hand. I was trying to figure out who were you introducing? Were you really introducing me or someone else, the way you went on? Thank you so much for that introduction, Raman. Right. So, what I wanted to do today, the specific focus is on how WhatsApp can enable customer conversations. And it's extremely interesting to see the results of the poll. I'll reference them in some of the slides that I'll bring up later on. But Raman, if you were to move on to the next slide, please. Yeah. So fundamentally, there's a lot of things that are happening in the market today, and things have rapidly evolved to become even more digital. The core point here is that a lot of businesses are struggling with some of these elements, right? We assume that customer journeys are going to be linear, but they're fairly random. I, as a consumer of a specific service, be it from a bank, be it from a consumer goods product, be it from a fintech company, my behavior would change, of course, based on what the specific area is, but my behavior would also change depending on what my mood is at that point of time. So a customer journey, which we would assume is in a certain pattern, step A leads to step B leads to step C, can actually have a step C leading to a step A, leading to a step F, leading to a step ZZ, if you're looking at a Google sheet. That's what it could be. So these are very random, and I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that, and you're investing heavily in terms of data analytics to figure out why are consumers so random, right? The other part is the existing channels, be what they may. We've all started with traditional voice channels. We've added SMS to it. We've added voice to it. We've now added, we've added WhatsApp voice to it. We've added WhatsApp. We've added voice bots. We've added chat bots. The experiences across all of these channels are fairly disjointed. And a lot of investment is being made by existing organizations to see how the user experience is consistent across all of these channels. And there are, of course, technology limitations that ensure that this does not happen very easily. Again, I'm sure all of us have behaved this way as consumers. When we want something, we want a response immediately. If we need to call up customer service for a query that we have, or if we need to call up a bank or a consumer goods company because there is something we need to procure or get some more information about, we want an immediate response. What happens when that institution, that organization needs to reach out to us? We expect them to just reach out to us in a non-intrusive way. Send me a message. I'll open it at my convenience and I'll let you know what's going on. Right? I'm sure all of us have struggled with that. Again, with the huge pressure on finances, on ROI, no CFOs today are approving investments without clear ROI that is seen across any of the customer communication channels that are being used. Right? And the last piece, of course, is personalization. Right? Every individual believes they're unique and they want to be treated in that manner. No matter how introverted they still want to be treated uniquely and not be called out as part of a larger group where they can hide away. So this is something that most businesses are experiencing today. I've been meeting a lot of CXOs over the last few months, specifically at Exotel. And this is something that we have consistently seen. And I'm sure the audience in this webinar is also experiencing something similar. If you could go on, Raman. So this is how the customer journeys are, right? It's very interesting. One of the poll questions that Raman had was, where do you think WhatsApp can be used? And it's across all of these channels, right? So it's across the customer journey. However, a customer can typically move from one stage to the other based on how they want to move. And every stage is fundamentally an opportunity to drive advocacy. Every stage is an opportunity to drive customer experience. Every touch point can actually make a huge difference around that. And it's linked to multiple ways. Is the consumer interested in understanding more about the services you provide? How is it that they're getting information? Is it via phone call? Is it via SMS? Is it via the web? Or is it some other form or means that they are getting information around? Is it that they visited a offline location where they got more information? However, as they start adopting your services, as they start moving to consuming them more and more deeply, is there an opportunity for them to consume more? Is there an opportunity for them to become your advocate and procure more, which is fundamentally what every organization wants to do today? How is it that we can improve the consumption, the average ticket size for any services that are consumed by your users? But the journey, again, is fairly random. Right? And if you look at it, there are multiple customer journeys that evolve. And if you keep on moving forward, you would see more and more customer journeys coming. The infinite possibilities that could exist. And this, again, drives home the point about personalization. How do you deliver a consistent experience across infinite consumer journeys, customer journeys that can happen? And that's a huge problem that exists today, which is what challenges that organizations are trying to solve. When we look back, we talk about a business messaging platform that can solve for all these disjointed experiences. You look at WhatsApp. There are about 2 billion plus global WhatsApp users today. Raman did speak about some of the statistics for India. It works across 180 plus countries. Even if it's a regulated country, it still works. There was a survey done by the Meta business a few months back, and it revealed that 75% of the businesses, and this is not necessarily the smaller businesses, it's even large enterprises, that they will switch their customer communication platforms, their customer engagement platforms to WhatsApp. That's a huge number. And when you look back at the number of organizations that exist in India to begin with, or even globally, it's phenomenal. There are, again, a fairly large universe of WhatsApp users that exist in India today. What does this imply? That they are fundamentally the best way to reach out is through WhatsApp. I tried this as an experiment, by the way. For a week, I said, I will not look at my phone, when I wake up in the morning, and I not look at WhatsApp when I wake up in the morning. I felt orphaned. I really struggled with what to do. I actually had to go find the newspaper. I had to go find a book. I would finally end up taking my phone with me when I got up in the morning, and I would try to listen to podcasts. But I was feeling as if I had been completely orphaned and I had been thrown away from it was the stranger anxiety that was creeping in because I was not using WhatsApp in the morning. I finally gave up and I said, okay, that's the first thing I'm going to do in the morning. I'm sure most of you, when you wake up in the morning, unless you are really spiritually evolved, look at WhatsApp as the first thing you do. Right? Raman. And this is something that the WhatsApp platform, business platform, can really help in. I will speak about the broad level philosophy, and we have 3 of our customers on this call. There'll be a panel discussion that will happen later on, and they will share more about their experiences. But how do you create a customer journey which is frictionless? How do you create a customer journey, which means that the end-to-end life cycle, from the point of time they become aware about you to the point of time they strongly start advocating you as a brand, as a business to other folks, can be through a single platform. Otherwise, those journeys become disjointed. So is it about awareness? Is it about evaluation? Or is it about onboarding and purchase and subsequent experiencing of the services or product that you offer? WhatsApp as a business platform can play a role across each of these and also give you a consistent experience no matter which stage your customer is at. And there are 3 elements that one looks at, right? How do you start driving ROI on marketing? By the way, we did a survey in January where we surveyed marketing heads, CMOs across multiple organizations. And we asked them, what is the thing that matters most to them from a customer engagement viewpoint? And interestingly, they said while improving ROI and lead conversion is important, customer engagement is the most important thing. 65% of the marketing heads responded saying customer engagement is the most important piece for them. And there are multiple use cases that can be done around WhatsApp. It's about how do you let people know that you can provide options to engage with them. A lot of brands use that today. If they want to create awareness, they send it through WhatsApp rather than email or SMS. We only look at SMS when it's an OTP. Otherwise, we rarely nowadays look at our SMSs. Maybe we clean them out twice a day, and that's about it. How do you use that in an interactive manner to be able to drive leads? How do you use them to actually engage and drive sales? A lot of businesses today actually use WhatsApp to provide product catalogs. A lot of businesses today use WhatsApp to provide payment options, and that's where the huge difference comes in. Our experience has been, we've seen that happening consistently, that there is a huge increase as compared to the traditional channels in terms of sales conversions, in terms of customer acquisition, and in terms of the percentage of people who click through, and you're able to actually figure out that they click through and be able to engage with them more effectively. Raman, help me. The second part, of course, is the customer journey piece, right? Which is how do you work with customers across and deliver a better customer care experience to those users? How do you ensure that there is availability of information as your customers need them during the life cycle? Is it about services? Is it about products? Is it about returns? How do you manage them more effectively? And again, we've seen that a lot of interactions can be actually handled very effectively with a WhatsApp chat. We had a customer who was a B2B business. They typically used to take about 10 hours to respond to customer queries. They started using WhatsApp chat, and they were able to respond to about 85% of the customer queries within 10 minutes. So it was a huge shift that happened there. And the result this could happen is because coupled with the WhatsApp interface and coupled with the AI chatbots that were put together, a lot of information could be culled and the customer could be responded to immediately. And that improved the CSAT and the NPS scores significantly for that organization. Now imagine this was done for a B2B organizations. We are all aware that a B2B organization can serve maybe 100,000, a lakh of customers. Imagine what the transformation could be when we're talking about B2C organizations. The numbers would run into millions. They would run into crores possibly. So there's a huge shift that could happen in those kind of scenarios, Raman. And this is where the transformation could be. Raman, I think we missed a slide in between. There was a CSAT slide in between that we missed. Yeah, this one. So, this is about keeping customers updated during the onboarding process, about the about statuses of services that they are requesting for, information that they need to receive in terms of payments being received, in terms of any specific notification that need to go out that keep them updated on what is happening. We can go back to that slide again, Raman. Now, we're talking about an API. We're talking about it's been activated, but what next? And there are multiple things that could be done. As users, as individuals, and even as business professionals, a lot of you who are on the call, you would have experienced the fact that there's a lot more that you as a business can do with WhatsApp. And these are some of the possibilities that open up. Fundamentally, no matter where the customer touch point is, no matter what stage in their journey is the consumer or the customer, you can engage with them. You could run campaign. No-code campaigns is becoming the norm today. So you could run that very effectively. You could have AI chatbots interacting with the customer. If need be, you could shift that. If the query is not responded, you could shift that to a live agent coming into play. You could actually use that from a service viewpoint, from an engagement viewpoint, from a commerce viewpoint to use OTPs to deliver that more effectively. And you could also use that for customer service and customer experience. One of the pieces that came out in the survey was about integration. That existing tools, even WhatsApp, are extremely difficult to integrate. This is something that we've experienced, and we've worked very closely with a lot of organizations to see how we make it more seamless. How do we make it easier for them to deliver the ROI on the investments that they have made? And these are some of the industries that there has been a huge impact in, right? You look at e-commerce. E-commerce starts as digital natives, which means that when they're looking at engaging with their consumers, their customers, they are looking at the whole journey and how they could engage across that journey. You look at delivery and logistics. That's one of the biggest pieces that we want to be aware of. Has our order been delivered? If not, where is it in the delivery process? If we are out, is there a way we can very quickly, easily reschedule it? Hey, I am at office today. I'll be in office till 8 p.m. Can you please deliver it at 10 p.m. or can you leave it with some other colleague or friend of mine who's in a different location? How easily can you work to serve that? BFSI. Now, BFSI is a fairly regulated industry. I'll let Ronak speak about it when he comes in on his panel discussion, or even Sumit will be able to talk about it from a fintech viewpoint. But when you look at BFSI, there are some things that are other traditional channels, but a lot of information can actually be shared through WhatsApp. And increasingly, organizations are starting to leverage that. EdTech. Now, EdTech is an interesting space. How do you ensure that various announcements can go out more easily to either the students or the parents? And I'm sure a lot of you experience that, those who have teenage kids. If you were to call up your teenage kid on the phone, the kid would ask, is there something wrong? Why did you call me? But if you were to message them, they're absolutely fine. This has become the norm. Messaging, communication through WhatsApp is a norm that they operate with. And it's very easy to set up multiple elements around that to be able to build a whole ecosystem for that cohort, that class of user through WhatsApp. And of course, travel hospitality, right? I'm sure when we travel today, our boarding passes, forget Digi Yatra, but when we're using traditional mechanisms of flying through traditional airports, which don't have Digi Yatra yet, our boarding passes go as WhatsApp to someone, and we use that to pull that out, right? We rarely do store them as files on our phone. But how do you get different updates? How do you get updates in terms of itinerary changes? How do you get updates in terms of any specific services that you require, your insurance policies if you're traveling abroad? All of them can be very easily stitched through WhatsApp. Raman? And this is something that we really wanted to talk about. I'm sure Ronak may also touch upon in greater detail. If you could play the video, please. There's no audio in this. I think the resolution is also a little poor, but it fundamentally talks about a journey where a consumer is chatting with a service bot and wants to understand what the account balance is. There's a 6-digit OTP that's been sent. The consumer enters the 6-digit ODP and the information is received by the consumer. That's not my account, by the way. I am sure I have more than 2,300 rupees in my bank account. And it's fairly quick, and your whole cost to serve goes down significantly when you're using a channel like this. Interestingly, I like the fact that only 20% said that the cost of WhatsApp is a deterrent. It's more about the integration with the overall ecosystem. And this is a classic example of how it can integrate with the ecosystem that exists to be able to serve consumers, customers more effectively. And these are some of the things that we wanted to talk about. Why WhatsApp through Exotel? Now, Exotel is a much larger company, and I'll talk about it in the subsequent slide, but we are one of the trusted WhatsApp service providers. We've engaged with them for a few years now. We are turning out to be amongst the largest partners. As Exotel, we've been around for about 18 years. So we've been here for a fairly long time, and we are not really a startup any longer. Though we did win the ET Comeback Kid of the Year award from a startup's viewpoint. There's a lot of value that can be delivered through combined with the Exotel full stack customer engagement platform. The overall cost of ownership can go down dramatically. Organizations can streamline the customer engagement, and with the bots and automation that we bring in, we acquired a company called Cogno about a year ago. There's a lot more that can be done at scale with this. Again, I used an example of a B2B organization where we reduced the time to serve from about 10 hours on an average to 10 minutes. That's a significant improvement that could be done that made a huge impact in terms of how organizations were able to serve their customers more effectively, and of course, deliver a better customer experience. And of course, peace of mind. That's extremely critical. If you're running a customer engagement channel, you don't want someone calling you at 8 a.m. in the morning saying so-and-so channel is down, right? This works very well. It's on the cloud, very high throughput, and therefore there's zero downtime that you experience with a WhatsApp channel through Exotel. And of course, because it's WhatsApp, there's a full level of security. I'm sure you've seen the significant investment WhatsApp been doing around the privacy and the security norms that they use on that. And these are just some of the names beyond the participants on the call today who've been using WhatsApp from Exotel. This is fundamentally the full stack, right? So while we talk about WhatsApp, and it seems to be becoming the primary channel that most consumers want to engage with their service providers on, there are still some of the traditional channels that exist, right? There's voice, there's video, there's SMS that still exist. Exotel is able to seamlessly transition between these and provide a consistent experience across all channels. And what Exotel has built over the years is, of course, the communication API. About 30% of Indian citizens have experienced Exotel's voice platform. The contact center, fundamentally, the inbound and outbound contact centers where organizations are engaging, and the conversational AI. In fact, specifically in some of the industry verticals, BFSI to name one of them, there's a very high probability if you had a chat with a BFSI provider, it would have been through Exotel's platform. And these are, of course, some of the organizations that we work with, just to give you a view. Raman, over to you, please.
All right. Thank you so much, Angira, for the insightful presentation. I hope it was insightful for all the audience as well. Guys, quickly, if you have any questions, you can post it on your message platform. We'll be able to answer them. Meanwhile, we had one question that came up while you were presenting, Angira. If you'd like to take this up. Do principles of encryption of personal WhatsApp apply to business model, and what are the reporting suits in place?
I'll answer that. So Paul, thanks so much for raising that question. In fact, the principles of security that apply for businesses are a lot more stringent than those that apply for personal usage. The platform fundamentally remains the same, but it's the way the data is encrypted and stored when you're providing those services are much more stringent. And please do reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer that in even more detail.
All right. Guys, if anyone else has a question, you guys can put it up on the Q&A panel. Okay. All right, guys. With that, we'll move on to our next session. Once again, thank you so much, Angira, for taking us all through Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, guys, with that, we'll be moving on to the panel discussion. For here, we're going to have some of the industry leaders from multiple industries. We have Mr. Gokul from the retail and e-commerce space. He's from Aditya Birla. Then we have Mr. Sumit Chopra, who is from the fintech space, who is currently the Chief Transformation Officer at Pine Labs. We also have Mr. Ronak, who is the AVP at Kotak Mahindra Bank from the banking space specifically. We'll also hear from all of these panelists, and including Sanchita, who is the Director of Product Marketing at Exotel. They will be discussing about the topic a little more in detail on about how WhatsApp is currently being used across multiple industries and multiple parts of the customer journey, and how this is also being orchestrated with other channels to provide a customer experience that everyone is looking for today. Over to you, Sanchita.
Thank you so much, Raman. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining the webinar. Thanks to Angira, for the wonderful keynote. We have an awesome lineup of panelists here, and I'm sure benefit from that. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists. So why don't we go around and do a quick introduction? So we would like to start with you, Sumit.
Sure. Hi, Sanjita. First of all, thanks for having me, and great insights that you shared across. I'm with Pine Labs, running the transformation here, both from a platforms perspective as well as from procedures and workflows. And I'm also responsible for operations and service delivery. And transformation can't be complete without keeping the customer at the heart of all the stuff that we do. So very excited for this panel here and the discussion.
That's great. Thanks so much, Sumit. Thank you for joining the webinar. Over to you, Ronak.
Hey, hi guys. First of all, thanks Angira and Raman for that insightful session at the start of it. Some numbers that you put out were great. Let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Ronak Parpani. I'm working with Kotak 811, and I lead the conversational banking piece for 811, which includes all AI bots and of course WhatsApp as a channel that we're going to discuss today. And I also look at new age products coming from 811 panel. Great meeting you, Sumit and Gokul. Hoping for a great discussion with you guys and sharing some insights with you all.
Likewise.
Thanks, Ronak. Over to you, Gokul.
Hey, Sanchita. First of all, thank you, Angira, for that insightful session to start off with. So I'm with Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail. So you would have heard of most of our brands like Louis Philippe, Alan Solly, and the likes. So I had customer experience and customer support for all 15 of our brands, including Pantaloons and Madara Fashion, from the tech side. And so I look forward to the discussion and learning more from all of you.
Great. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. So as Angira mentioned, how we are looking at jointed customer journeys and the importance jointed customer journeys have in kind of improving CX and customer engagement. So in your opinion, from what you see on a day-to-day basis, what do you think customers expect today, and how do they want to be contacted? Also, do you see that this kind of vary at various stages of the customer journey, right from the awareness stage till the consider stage? Sumit, we can start with you, have your views, and we can also request Ronak and Gokul to add their views.
Sure, happy to. No, thanks for that. And I think our experience has been that if we just put ourselves in the shoes of the customer, right? Today we are service providers, but at 99% other touch points, we're actually service seekers or consumers. So the difference that we expect, or the service experience that we expect, is no different than what our customers do. Pine Labs as an industry, as an organization, we are in an interesting space because our primary audience actually is more B2B. It's the merchants and the shopkeepers and others. But equally, if you look at a little bit of segmentation there, you could have the mom and pop stores where the owner, the proprietor, is also a consumer, but you could have a large format retail store wherein the demands and the needs of the headquarters could be completely different from reconciliations and financial accounting to what the store requirements could be, at a quick service restaurant, for example, wherein they may need to have a tool wherein they can quickly put in a request for their paper rolls for charge slips, or if the terminal needs some maintenance, there's a network thing. So the demands are very, very different. And I think one of the things that we have observed is we need to be present across channels. We cannot drive behavior to say that, we would only want a set of customers to go to a particular channel. I think we need to offer omni-channel experience and let the customer decide the best which is suited at that point in time. So we've normally seen in the daytime when it's a chargeback or a disputes related kind of a conversation, customer may want to speak to an agent. But, for an account statement or for consumables, they can actually use it through a WhatsApp bot that we've created, or the app that we have, 15 seconds that they're done with, they don't need to engage with anybody else. So it's horses for courses, but I think you provide them with all the channels that they're looking at, and they will naturally gravitate to the one which is most suited to them at a particular time in the day as well.
Great. So yeah, like exactly what you said, right? We need to understand their, their behaviors, and we need to be there for them. And also, like the customer is constantly evolving, so we need to keep up. So, Ronak, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts completely resonate with what Sumit was saying. I mean, if we put ourselves in the consumer's foot, we know exactly that there are conversations that we want to have with brands which are immediate and urgent. And then there are those conversations which are great to have maybe post business hours, right? So it's very important for us to understand that we are present across all channels where the customer is. So that's the reason why it's very important to have a cohesive network of sorts. So each conversation is not left hanging saying that, hey, the customer spoke to me in the morning, but in the evening when he's trying to connect with the brand over maybe a digital channel of WhatsApp or maybe even social media, for a matter of fact, the view that that customer gets is single, right? That's what the customer is required at this point of time. He is asking the brands to be cohesive in this manner. And somewhere also one size doesn't fit all in this case. So there needs extreme personalization, which only digital channels can provide. So same thoughts as Sumit. Each customer in various stages of his journey is expecting difference, right? So if there is some fraudulent transactions that are happening from a banking perspective, I want to call up the call center immediately and try and get to the bottom of what's happening. But if it's just that I want to check my balance, the way you saw in the video earlier that Angira showed, you can do it at any point of time. It's not channel specific. You could go to the app, you could go to WhatsApp. So as a consumer now, I have a lot of choice at my hand, and I think brands need to respect that and be available at the place where the customer wants it to.
Great. And right on point, Ronak, I think it's also important to kind of understand and prioritize customer communication. You mentioned about fraudulent transactions and how they need to be attended to with utmost urgency, and something that can wait and that the customers can handle at a later time, maybe according to their preferred timing. So thanks for that. Gokul, coming from the vertical that you are in, what is it that you would like to add, or are the views resonate with you, or is there something else?
Yeah, absolutely, Sanchita. So first of all, even though I am part of customer support and customer experience, I think the last thing that a customer ever wants to do is interact with the customer support agent, right? So the best service is not to have customer reach out to customer service, right? So that is one thing which I strongly believe in. But in case there is a situation when a customer does need to reach out to customer service, it needs to be personally, from my opinion or from my experience so far, the fastest response that they can get. Right, so that can be the ideally by phone, which is the quickest way to get a response, or secondly via chat, right? And worst in the worst scenario, email or some of these other channels where it takes say a day or two to get a response, right? So especially from at least from say retail vertical, the poor experience can be at any stage, even after you've got a product. It can be at a stage where you've used the product for 30 days, and then you realize that, hey, there is some issue, right? I've washed my clothes a couple of times, then there's some issue with the color fading, or it becomes it's shrunk. So anything can happen. So I think Aditya Birla has gone one step on this front, especially where we do call the customers after 30 days of their purchase, to call them up to ask them how their experience has been in the product so far, and in case they do have a poor experience that they want to share, then they'll be able to share it with us, and we'll be able to help them out on the same, right? So I think the journey with especially something like a clothing product is it's actually very perpetual, and not just with ending with just a transaction.
Great. So also, with the evolving market dynamics, with the changes that we see in different, industry landscape, in your views, Gokul, how do you think this is going to change or rather evolve in the coming months or years?
So I think in general, what a customer wants, right, going back to first principles, is essentially nothing to get between them and the product, right? So all they want, at the end of the day, they want to buy a product, look good when they wear them. That's pretty much all they want, right? Everything else, whether it's marketing communications being sent to them, or say reaching out to the customer using different mediums, all these are just enablers for the same. But at the end of the day, all they want is nothing to come between them and their product, and that product to be as per their expectations, right? Or whatever they had imagined and whatever value that they wanted to derive from that, nothing to come between that and them. So that's what I think.
Great. Thanks, Gokul, for that. So let's now talk a little bit about the challenges that you might be facing in communicating with the customers by using the channel that they want. Say, for example, I might be extremely happy with WhatsApp, and that might be my preferred channel, whereas someone else might have a different channel. So like, what are some of the challenges that you have seen or rather faced in communicating by using the preferred channel of customers? Sumit, would like to start with you, please.
Yeah, sure. No, very interesting. I think I'll just break it down and nuance it slightly more. I think one of the points that was called out was that the customers really expect the brands to carry a 360-degree view of all the interactions. We are actually working on scenarios wherein we can preempt why the customer could be making this call or initiating that transaction, because it is the month end, the account statement has just gone, and hence the most likely interaction is expected to be this one, or there is a service charge that has been levied, and hence that's likely to be the most. So we are getting into that level of nuancing. But what happens is that it's human psychology that you set expectations for the service channel as well. I think one of the points that I think Gokul spoke about is, if there is an email, there's a natural expectation that the response will come through after 3 to 4 hours or 8 hours, depending upon how the brand is set up. If it is a call to the call center, you almost expect that the phone will get picked up in like less than 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So there's a channel expectancy that it's built. And I think this is one of the measures that we track internally, and we call it channel response expectation. Now, very often we observe that brands spend a lot of time, energy, investment in the front ends of building those channels, whether it is a conversational IVR or a chatbot or an app. But what very often gets missed out in this entire piece is the backend journey. So, you cannot have a channel which is providing you an almost synchronous response expectation, but the backend, the service ticket still goes and queues up as the fifth, only to be serviced, after 6 hours. Now, that's where the major disjoint of service experience happens across. If you are pushing me onto a toll road, I expect to receive and I expect to drive faster. You cannot be getting me onto a channel with an expectation that's going to be super fast, but move me into the same service lane. That's not going to happen. So this is something that, we have done at the back end, where the channel expectancy of service response is the highest. Those tickets also get bumped up into our queues for faster resolutions, because moment the customers see that they raised a ticket through WhatsApp and that got resolved within a matter of minutes, they start to become channel first and digital only, right? Then WhatsApp or those digital channels become the only channels of choice, versus the first experience was great to raise a ticket, but it took the same 24 hours. You'll say, okay, it's better off calling the call center. At least I can raise my voice and get the agent to take it on severity. So it's a very interesting mix of expectancy of responses through the channels that we've observed.
Great. And when you were mentioning that, I was thinking even as a consumer, my needs and demands have kind of evolved over time. So if I call and then I have to wait for beyond a specified time, I feel very jittery. So as consumers, I think we are constantly evolving, and we need those queries or those problems or clarifications that we have to be addressed earlier, like much earlier than what was expected before. Ronak, any thoughts on this?
While I completely agree, the consumer is evolving. I mean, gone are the days when the consumer used to take his sweet time writing an email to us with detailed explanation of what has gone wrong. Nowadays, he's coming onto Twitter, on WhatsApp, and just sending us 2 text messages saying that this is my problem, right? So we are seeing a massive shift with this new generation of digital first and digital native guys, that everything is becoming digital. They want instant gratification for everything, be it customer satisfaction or be it product orientation, right? So I think with that evolved customer, if our service does not keep up, then we will be facing a huge pitfall very soon. And that's the reason why we've constantly been working, just like Sumit was mentioning, that resolution on the channel as soon as possible, be it a call or be it via digitals. We need to empower our service delivery team also in such a manner that the service is provided quickly and resolution is provided quickly. So that, I believe, we need to keep up with this evolving crowd. And also to the fact that you asked, I think Sumit was, which is the preferred channel, right? How do I get to that preferred channel? Well, it's very simple. What approach that we end up following is, if the customer has responded to us in any form or matter of shape, may it be email or clicking on a campaign that we did on Facebook or on a WhatsApp, some interest, has responded to us on that channel, we are more likely to keep that as a preferred channel, because it's a clear indicator that this is the channel that you have reached me in and I've seen you. So that is the way we are kind of looking at how to reach the customer on his preferred channel.
Great, yeah. Completely agree. With what you said, there's massive shift in generation, and we are looking at instant gratification. So service delivery or service experience rather becomes the key differentiator. So let's talk a little more about using multiple channels, and from your views, how do you internally connect these channels? Because we all know that the end goal is to provide an awesome connected experience. That's why we talk about the connected customer journeys. So Gokul, your views on this?
Sure. So I think I couldn't agree more with Sumit and Ronak about what they were just talking about. So one thing is, I think principally this is a problem of scale, right? Imagine you just had one customer you can just have the CEO be the call operator, right? Pretty much, the customer can just reach out to the CEO or anybody, and they'll be more than happy to respond to this particular customer. But as our sales grow and eventually our experience declines, right? So the number of customer support agents that you have for each customer reduces significantly. So as your sales become more and more, then as a company, we start looking for alternatives to see how we can provide a good experience to our customers without increasing the size of our customer support teams, right? So I think that is pretty much what most companies try to do with channels or anything else for that matter, right? Seeing how, even with increased sales, how do we maintain the same experience for our customers without increasing the size of our customer support team, right? So that is one thing which I feel is the most important thing to solve here, a problem of scale. And at the end of the day, the customer doesn't care, right? They are paying for the service, and they expect the same kind of experience from the company, regardless of how their sales are currently doing. So that is one thing which I feel deeply about. And so when it comes to automation, so I'm just answering both your questions together. So when it comes to channels specifically, right? Companies usually tend to do what is more easy for them to automate, right? Say, for example, IVR, right? IVR could be one example where some companies ask the customers the order number or all of these details before they actually connect you to an agent, right? Or the same could be with, say, a form on the website where customers are expected to fill all these details before they actually get in touch with the customer service agent, right? And customer hates these experiences, right? All they are saying, they say, you have my contact details, right? I've just called you up. You figure, you look at your internal systems, figure out what did I recently purchase and what do I have an issue with, right? So that's pretty much it from the scale and the channel preference perspective. And as far as the unifying all of these different channels go, we use Dynamics 365 internally, and that helps us tremendously in connecting. Say, we use MEO's calling software and Cogno as our chatbot partner, both of them from Exotel. So, and all of these are internally connected with the Dynamics, and that's pretty much how we do a connected experience.
Right. So thanks, Gokul, for that. So, you just mentioned about how different channels kind of come together to provide that, that holistic experience to the end customer. Sumit, anything that you would like to add here?
No, I think, all the right things that, we've discussed, the concept of fit for purpose, right? I think that's the most important piece. And I think I briefly alluded to this point, right? Take an example of a QSR, right? A large QSR, which has multiple outlets and stuff. The need of the HO is going to be completely different. The way they would like to interact with us, that could be a self-service dashboard and a portal with lots of visualizations of how their sales have been, what has been the different acceptance made, whether these have been credit cards, debit cards, international, domestic, UPI. Those are the kind of things that they would like to see on visualizations, and their ability to download reports, upload reports into their ERP systems and others. Whereas what the store may need is something very, very functional in their mobile, which is quickly the three things that you need: a consumable, paper consumable, or a network issue and things like that. So you don't want to go log into the portal to have some of these service queries. By the way, all of those things are available, but it's going to be very relevant for them to use a channel which is in their hand, and which is why the 3 R's that we typically use is that the ease of raising, the ease of reaching, the ease of raising an issue or a query or a clarification, and the ease of resolution, right? So any channel that you do, it has to be inconsistent and in harmony. You can't have a channel which is very easy to reach, but it's extremely difficult to raise a ticket, right? The point that Gokul spoke about, that I have reached a channel which is great on my mobile phone, but if I'm expected to put 5 entries before I even submitted, the experience is extremely broken, for me.
Right. Ronak, like, do you echo, a similar sentiment, similar thoughts?
Absolutely, I echo what Gokul and what Sunita mentioned. It's absolutely spot on. A lot of challenges, to be honest, to cohesively merge all existing legacy platforms at times, right? Let's consider a finance institution or a bank in this example that I want to cite. Banks are regulated, right? So we have softwares which go way back in legacy, maybe a decade old softwares where patches have just been put on top of it. Things are running fine, but it's very difficult to really combine 2 or 3 systems together, right? So that becomes a real ground challenge for most businesses to combine this experience and give it the one view to this customer, right? So that is a challenge that we've also taken up, we've faced, and we've solved it at some stage. So for example, if the consumer is on the app, let's say he's going through a journey of purchase and he's just dropped off. Do you let that consumer just drop off, send him a push notification maybe to bring him back? Why not send him a WhatsApp message, giving him more information about the product? Maybe he did not understand the app. Maybe he did not understand the journey. Each consumer is different. So we try and connect each journey to this consumer via various initiatives that we end up taking. For example, if the guy is calling up the call center and he dropped off, network issues, country does face a lot of network issues. He dropped off. Is there a way I can send him a WhatsApp message and say, hey, why don't you chat with the agent right here? So that even if you have fluctuating network, you will still end up chatting with the agent that you wanted to. So these interactions between various systems that are brought together and made possible the cohesiveness of this communication is important. And I think most brands are facing issues and difficulties achieving this because of the legacy that already exists in the organization. So that's a challenge that I think most of us end up overcoming and working towards.
Great, and Ronak, you also pointed out, right? Like if the call drops because of connectivity issues, why not, send a message on WhatsApp and kind of enable that that seamless connectivity. And Angira also, talked about why WhatsApp is the most preferred channel and how, WhatsApp can be used for creating that frictionless customer engagement. So now just moving on, wanted to have your views and thoughts about leveraging WhatsApp, to enhance customer experience and drive business success. Since, all of you come from different industry verticals, you might have, seen like customer pain points from, different perspectives. Like each industry is different, each consumer is different. So what do you feel about, leveraging WhatsApp? Is this, the most preferred channel? Can it really provide that, the frictional experience with one persistent thread? It would also help our audience, if you can give some examples. So we can start with you, Ronak.
Sure. Yes, currently for us at 811, being a digital bank, we believe WhatsApp is a very powerful channel for our consumer. The one key problem that we want to resolve as a business, right? This is not customer facing, but as a business, is how do we reduce footfalls in the branches, right? If more number of people start walking into the branches, our service levels will take a hit. There will start becoming longer queues in the branches. And ultimately, the customer will end up suffering for the same piece of thing that was possible digitally. I'll take a very specific example, right? At 811, we have a lot of consumers who walk into the branch just to get a passbook. Now, in today's age, a lot of us would say, why passbook, right? I don't think after digital statements, anybody of us on this call would have even seen the passbook. But there is this large population that walks into the branch for a passbook just as an address proof. That is a problem that crowds my branches and doesn't really support the customer in what he wants to do, because when he walks into the branch, it'll take him 2 days. He will again have to come back. So that's a journey that we took up as a challenge, and we've made it digital, saying that, hey, if you want a passbook now, we will deliver it to your house. You don't need to walk into the branch. Just come on WhatsApp, give us a shout out saying that I need a passbook. Again, it's a very simple journey. Enter your OTP so that we can identify you are the correct consumer. and then we will deliver the passbook at your address that we already have. That helps not only the business, but it also gives the peace of mind to the consumer saying that, hey, this is a digital bank and they are doing things digitally. So WhatsApp as a medium has become really powerful because most of my consumers who are digital consumers have WhatsApp on it and they are very tech savvy. So this has been a pretty game changer for us in terms of that. So I just wanted to cite that example and bring to your point.
I would say that's a brilliant one because, I myself don't remember when I looked at a passbook last. So yeah, so different customers and different challenges. Gokul, coming again from a different vertical, what are your views about leveraging WhatsApp to kind of improve or enhance customer experience?
So when I first took up this role, I was excited about doing a lot of things on WhatsApp, right? There was so much opportunity to bring on the different journeys that you can build on WhatsApp. So pretty much everything that we could fancy, we tried to build that, right? So one example could be where we had this thought, right? Wherein, because most of our apps are single brand apps. So you can only download an Alan Solly app or a Louis Philippe app or a Van Heusen app, right? Compared to, say, a Myntra, or one of these marketplace apps where you have access to a lot of these different brands. So what happens is some of our customers used to uninstall the app as soon as they make a purchase, right? Because their primary objective of downloading the app is done. Probably they got an offer only on an app and they downloaded it for that. So now, so what we tried to do was build out an entire shopping journey on WhatsApp, right? Where the customer could search for a catalog, see the different things that are there for a particular category, and make a purchase on WhatsApp, right? So obviously it failed miserably. So this could be one example which I could share where So there are channel, like I think even Ronak was mentioning, there are channel preferences that which a customer wants to do in a particular channel, and just because they have access to it, right? Though most people have access to WhatsApp compared to downloading our apps, doesn't mean they would perform the same action on WhatsApp or they would do on a different channel, right? So that is one learning which I had. So principally right now, we use WhatsApp only for two things. One is marketing and second would be customer service. So we are limiting ourselves to this, at least at the moment, without, putting our, we are keeping our innovations on hold, at least at the moment, and just building what the customer actually wants rather than what they could want.
Great. Thanks, Gokul. Sumit, your thoughts on this, please.
No, I think brilliant points, called out. I think, the point that Gokul made, which is, if you need to take a service from a particular brand, you need to download the app. And if your regular engagement with that brand is not ongoing, you tend to, deactivate, deinstall, right? And which is why it's extremely important to look at, the way we look at it is WhatsApp being a brilliant companion app. So we have our own app, which is used whenever the merchant needs to raise a dispute, needs to see more visualizations of how the spends have been. They want to look at transaction data information because the app is set up to help you visualize. The UI UX affords that. But, in case you are, just at home, right, or you're just closing your shop, you just realized that, paper rolls are getting over. You don't need to necessarily log into the app, right? So you can just do it from WhatsApp. So we have treated almost like a sous chef. For us, WhatsApp is almost like a companion app to our main app or the main portal because it adds you space. It gives you that immediate access that you would not want, for the other one to get your OTP done, log into your app and things like that. That's point number one. Point number two is that some of the use cases that, we are trying to create goes beyond text. So it is not about just the 3, 4, 5 category that I spoke about, whether it is for, machine maintenance or network issues or consumables and others. Tomorrow, we also want to take it to a level wherein the customer can actually just take an image and send it across to us on WhatsApp. And we should be able to run an algo to find out the error code through an API. It actually connects to the backend, either reboots the machine automatically, seamlessly, or the right intervention is taken. So I think we've been hearing about ChatGPT. We have been speaking about how from text to image to videos. So I think the context is there's so much happening across, there's so much excitement, and the use cases are as many as what you can think of, right? There is absolutely no limit. So just as today you have insurance apps for, say, general insurance, the car has just met up with an accident, you don't need to file claims, a surveyor comes across, you just take certain images, you have AI, ML algos running across which assess what the damage is. And based on what is the likelihood of claim, you auto-approve 80% of the cases, right? So I think that's the kind of journey that we need to look at, and look at WhatsApp as a railroad and build wagons, which could be the features that you keep on adding.
That's brilliant. Sumit, and I would like to take a page from your book, like, what you just mentioned. There are as many use cases that you could possibly think of. So do you think that businesses of all sizes, can effectively use WhatsApp for marketing purposes?
100%. I think COVID has also shown, and we've seen progressive retailers, right, who possibly were never on WhatsApp. You would have the grocery shop people would visit, or they would just, take the phone order. And I think they graduated and adopted the channel brilliantly. I mean, leave aside the WhatsApp business with all the cataloging, they were smart enough just to use it on a normal personal WhatsApp, make a group of society, right? So the society that I live in, it's a fairly big one. And the smart grocer, he just created a list of all the residents, and people could just give in their requirements, and he almost set a beat plan that every 2 hours, I'm going to make a visit. So, there is also a timeliness associated. I'm not waiting for the end of day delivery to happen across. So, it is that the channel is such that it's not just relegated to the people who are, more savvy or who have more investments to make. I think it's how do you leverage the availability of, these features which are coming through, which is actually being added, with every coming month and stuff like that. So super excited across the board.
Great. I mean, very, very well articulated, Sumit. And, the example like of the grocer who used WhatsApp. And we have seen that, during COVID, like how people are reaching out and how easy it was to communicate. So I'll just, request Ronak and Gokul also to share their views in terms of, do you think that, businesses of all sizes can effectively use WhatsApp?
I think absolutely spot on, Sumit. His observation on the matter is absolutely spot on. People who are even running mom and pop shops today, they are competing with Amazons by ensuring that they are available on WhatsApp. A classic example would be a toy store, right? Today, when mothers want to go for a child's birthday party or something, they go to Amazon, but deliveries will take some time, maybe a day. What if you want right now? These are the guys who are literally leveraging WhatsApp, sending out images saying that these are the toys that you can buy and place the order right now, and I'll get one delivered. Right? I mean, something like this, WhatsApp being able to deliver for even a small business, which is a mom and shop business. And it does wonders on larger businesses we've already seen, right? I mean, everything from just informing the customer about an order to placing that same order on WhatsApp, everything is possible today, right? So end-to-end journeys are possible, notifications are possible, informing the consumer of where his product is also possible. So no matter where you are in this entire supply chain of the businesses, there is a use case for you, which will make your consumers feel really happy about the service that you're providing and also keep them at peace of mind. So I think it is currently relevant for all businesses. And there is no reason why even a small shop owner should not consume WhatsApp.
Great. Gokul, anything that you would like to share?
Yeah, so I think one thing which Angira also was mentioning, right, where the first thing he does when he wakes up each day is look at WhatsApp. So I have tried to go on like a spiritual mode multiple times, and I tried to delete WhatsApp, and hardly I was able to stay away from it for more than a day, right? So WhatsApp penetration is obviously something which everybody needs to leverage. The only thing is you can reach the customers, right? The only thing you need to actually worry about is how to prevent them from blocking you. So that's the most important challenge that you have. It is you'll obviously be able to reach your entire base in say a minute, right? If you have the customers list, right, you have the necessary quotas in your WhatsApp, you can reach them within a minute, and you can reach them every time that when a particular a sale is happening or anything, right? But do they want that communication? Are you engaging them right? I think preventing them from blocking you is a more I would say a more difficult challenge that we have right now rather than reaching them.
Right. Thanks, Gokul. One like question for our audience as well. What are some of the best practices that you think can be shared with our audience, but from your experience in using WhatsApp as one of the preferred channel for communicating to create that connected journey? Sumit, if you could share your thoughts, please.
Sorry, come again. There was a network one.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, are there any best practices that you would like to share? Or like, what we should be looking for, or rather watching out for?
No, absolutely. I think to Gokul's point, I think the point that he spoke about right, how not to get blocked. I think that goes across any channel. It could be email, it could be SMS, it could be postal, whatever. If you're not relevant to the audience, the channel can't do anything for you, right? So, I almost, it's like a fable in the organization, right? I always refer to these channels as railroads. These are the best railroads, and all your features are the wagons on this entire piece. Now, you cannot force a passenger to get into this wagon if the person is not decided to go on the journey, and hence, how do you make yourself relevant? There are times wherein, you would not want, like from a customer service standpoint, we would want very light touch engagement. To Gokul's point, right? A good service is no service. I should be delivering everything flawlessly that the customer doesn't even need to reach out to me. But at some point in time, I also want that the thread of communication and that emotional connect is also not lost. And some of the things that we try to do is, for example, tips on card acceptance or tips on, digital payments, whether it's on best usage, how to prevent fraud, so these are the kind of things that it becomes your quote unquote, right, friendly partner who is not only serving you as a service provider, but he's also becoming your advocate and advisor to help you do the things, in a better way. And at the end of the day, if your content and if your communication is not relevant, the channel is just a channel, right? You will get blocked. So the relevance of communication has to be extremely important. And this is also about reaching out to the consumer in different stages of life cycle. When we onboard a new consumer, we realize that we send across a welcome emailer and our open ratio was hardly anything, leave aside any click-throughs. So we created small bite-sized video capsules that we send across through WhatsApp, because at least one thing is that it ensures is, it gets opened, it gets, it's a bite-sized 45-second one, it gets actually seen, and these are all contextual. So at the start of the journey, it's a welcome message. After 15 days, if we see that the customer has not started to transact, it's a gentle nudge to indicate, do they need any extra training, at their stores, or is there anything that we can help with? And then you gradually link it to a nudge engine. So either it is to increase the business, either it is to cross-sell others. That's how you build your relevance with the consumer.
Great. Thanks, Sumit. Raunak, any
Yes.
tips from you in terms of best practices?
I think actually I agree with both Gokul and Sumit on this one. Relevance is something that is key, but a few pitfalls that we really need to avoid while doing this is over communication and over marketing will spoil the channel for you and your customers, right? It will start creating a blind eye. I mean, in today's generation, we all know that the number of unread emails that we have on our apps, the number of messages and SMSs that we've not even opened, right? It's very important to not create that blind eye to a channel that you really want to connect to the customer. So while it's very difficult to ensure that every business owner, every product business owner also is in line with this thought process, that's the bigger challenge internally with organizations, right? Do not over communicate, do not oversell. While selling on WhatsApp seems to be very simple, very intuitive, very easy, but it's very important to know when not to do it. Otherwise, that channel will be lost and you will create a blind eye. So I think that is one thing that we really need to keep a check on while we are communicating. Other than that, what Sumit said is absolutely spot on, and I completely agree with Sumit and Gokul.
Thanks, Ronak. Gokul, any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I think while you can use a lot of these fancy tools to know everything about a customer, right? When they say drop off of your website, right? And you immediately send them a message saying that, hey, we saw that you left our website so soon and come back and all this. But very basic things like, say, there are a lot of brands which still address their customers as dear customer, right? So you don't know my name. So there are the basic things that you don't know basic information about a customer, right? So these things, I think you'll have to keep in mind, where you're addressing the customer by name, giving them a more personalized experience, knowing their gender. So we had a recent recent incident where we sent out communications about our intimate wear to our customers, and we sent it out to everybody, right? So you need to, and it was not relevant for our male customers, for example, right? So you need to know a lot about your customers before you send out a communication to them. So that is one thing, and like Sumit and Ronak mentioned, keep it as relevant as possible, right? So one of our brands, The Collective, which serves pretty much our premium customers. So they have the customers' phone numbers, right? The relationship managers at the stores have their customers' phone numbers. And every time a product comes in, they wouldn't call their customers, right? They wouldn't call saying that, hey, this is coming, this is something which is there. They know their customers' preference so well. There's no way to automate it. It's just a personal relationship which a relationship manager has with their customers. They know exactly what the customer wants. And when that when that particular product comes in, they would literally go all the way to the customer, say where hotel where they're staying in or anywhere, right? Just go and deliver it to them, right? So that level of, it should actually be personal, right? You need to know your customers well, and without that knowledge, I think without that care for your customers, you wouldn't be able to fake it.
Great. Thanks, Gokul, for that, and thanks Sumit, Ronak, and Gokul again for taking the time out and for this wonderful discussion. I'm sure there are quite a few takeaways for the audience. And Sumit, to your point, all the channels are like railroads, and then the features that we have are the wagons, and how do we ensure that they're all moving in unison, to provide that connected customer experience. I think brilliant. And like what all three of you mentioned about, the relevance of, communication. How do we ensure that we are reaching out, at different stages of the life cycle, for customer, and like what actually works, what resonates with the customers, so reach out or provide them with content that kind of is relevant, is consistent, with what is expected. So again, thanks, for the wonderful discussion. Thank you so much for your time, Ronak, Sumit, and Gokul. Over to you, Raman.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sanchita.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. That was definitely a very, very insightful discussion that all of us had. So I'll just quickly pause here for a couple of minutes to see if the audience has any questions. Guys, if you have any questions, now would be the time. You can just quickly raise your hand and speak out, or you can put it up on the Q&A panel.
You can ask them to WhatsApp. You'll possibly get more responses.
Yes, that's definitely a thought. All right. Okay, looks like we have no questions. Looks like our panelists have covered everything. All right, super. Thank you so much, guys. Firstly, thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the panelists, firstly, and also thank you, everyone, for staying with us through this webinar. I know it did go a little more than an hour, but I'm sure all of you had a lot of insights that you can take back and that you can implement within your organizations. You'll also get a quick feedback survey form once you close the screen and on your emails. It would be great if you can take 30 to 40 seconds of your time just to fill the same. It's just 3 to 4 questions. With that, we come to the end of the webinar. Thank you all once again for being a part of this. I hope it was really insightful to all of you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.